Hi there, Kira here. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the importance of a personal brand and why everybody should be intentionally defining and growing their own personal brand in this new economy, in this new world. Even if you're not looking to build a monetizable personal brand or be an influencer, right, or be an expert or grow something that you would traditionally associate with a personal brand, right? Think Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Lewis House, people like that. I still firmly believe that we should all be intentional about growing our own personal brand, because the personal brand now in this new decade, right, in 2020, in this new world and economy here post-pandemic, is going to be increasingly about personal brands. The stories, the bio, the things that somebody stands for are going to be huge decision points on whether or not somebody ends up working with you or not. Doesn't mean you have to be a business owner, like I said, or an entrepreneur. This could be in a traditional setting as well, right? Because I think the reputation from yesteryear, right, is now the personal brand. And the reason why the two are different, I'm going to go into in a second here. But, when I think of reputation, right, and I was taught this a little bit by a friend of mine and a brand strategist of ours, Rory Vaden, this idea that reputation precedes revenue, right? Reputation precedes income. Reputation precedes opportunity. Couldn't be more true for these reasons, right? When we think of reputation, we think of somebody's background, their expertise, what they're known for. A personal brand takes that to new levels. It takes that to a new level of understanding. When I think of a personal brand, I think of the values and principles that somebody stands for, their aesthetic, what they're putting out into the world, how it looks and feels, right? The thoughts and the emotions that it conjures when I encounter that personal brand, that person, right? It's connected, it's interconnected, it's interwoven, and it really tells the story visually, in words, emotionally, of someone. You, me, someone else. So I've been very diligent about growing my own personal brand over the last 2 years approximately, but actually more so over the last 6 years as a luxury real estate agent and team owner, but more so in my public work, in my multimedia company, coaching clients, writing books, as a podcast host, growing more and more of my personal brand out there in the public. I've been very intentional about what goes into it, the choices I make, the people I surround myself with and associate with, the colors and the feel of things from my social media profile to my marketing collateral, to my websites, to my social media LinkedIn profile, to the posts, to the blogs I write. How they look and feel is important. So I want to counsel and give this advice that even if you're not looking to build a monetizable personal brand, one that's going to really be generating revenue for you based on your personal brand and reputation, it's still a good idea to think about this, which is thinking about not just building upon your reputation, right, as a professional, as a person, as somebody who people can rely on and go to, and as a go-to voice and authority in your respective field. Take it one step further. Think about this as a traditional brand would. What are the things that go into it? And here's a couple steps or recommendations on how you can start thinking about this differently, because it's a little bit foreign, and it will be a little bit foreign initially when you start to kind of go down this path. So one is, get creative, sit down with a piece of paper, create some time, block it off, and write out what is your vision for the future. What is your vision for your career? What is your vision for your legacy, the impact you want to have, how you want to show up in this world? Then spend some time and write a little bit about your values, your principles, the things that you live by, that you espouse, that you adhere to. What are those? Then think a little bit about who would be the ideal people that you'd like to associate with and work with in a professional setting. That could be the company or the culture that you end up working with in more of a traditional corporate environment. That could be the volunteer associations that you end up giving your time to, what resonates with you. That could be who your ideal customers are if you're in a sales capacity or sales role, no matter what it is, medical sales, real estate, information, product sales, consumer product, doesn't really matter what it is. What does your ideal client, right, look like? And if you're running a small business or an entrepreneur like myself, who is your target ideal client? Get really, really clear and build clarity and a finiteness to understanding and describing this person, this customer, this individual, because that's going to help you also be more intentional and effective in creating material and collateral and communications that speak to this person, right? That speak to this group, that resonate, that address the pains, the problems, the challenges, but also the aspirations, the hopes, and the ambitions of that person. Once you get this, then you're going to start to take that a little bit further. Then you're going to start to be more deliberate and intentional about how you're creating your aesthetic, your personal brand aesthetic. How are you showing up on your social media profiles? What are your pictures looking like, right? What's the type of content you're posting? Is it really educational, informative, or entertaining? What is the vein and the through line through all of this? Really try to gain some clarity around this, and if there is no clarity, create some. Really try to define this. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to stand out in? Where do you want to be an expert in? And how are you going to show up to do that, to elevate, to rise to the challenge of that position and of that role? So these are just a couple ideas on how you can take your reputation to a new level in this new decade and this new economy and new world. Remember, a personal brand is not just for an entrepreneur, a business owner, or an influencer, or somebody in a public capacity. It's for every one of us, because I firmly believe that our reputation now is much more than just that. It's everything we stand for. It's our values. It's our mission. It's our vision. It's our impact. It's how we show up in the world, in our relationships, in our work, and in our lives. So if you got value from this, please let me know. Drop a comment or a line. Share this with somebody who could also benefit from hearing it. Again, to your success, happiness, and freedom. We'll talk to you next week.